Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of the Pure Logic Podcast. I am your host, The Logical Dude. This is the podcast where I give you my doodly wisdom, stuff that I've learned over my journey, talk about subjects that I'm really trying to focus on in my own life and that kind of thing, personal development kind of stuff, and really just whatever's going on in this crazy world, all the logical and illogical things that are going on. That's what this podcast is all about. And we are broadcasting primarily, the focus is on Web 3.0 and the Podcasting 2.0 index system. We are doing that through 3speak.tv, which is a video platform on the Hive blockchain where everyone is welcome. It's the easiest way to get into cryptocurrency, doing things that you already do on a daily basis, like sharing posts, commenting, liking posts. We actually have things that are educational on the Hive blockchain and by regular everyday people, not by a bunch of paid journalists and shills and all that kind of stuff. It's really a great platform. You should really come and check out the Hive blockchain where you own your data, not the big tech companies. But we also have to cater to some of the big tech stuff, the mainstream. So we are on all we are getting on all of the mainstream platforms. We are currently on Spotify through Anchor.fm. We are also on several other platforms. I'll put all the links in the descriptions below. Currently waiting on Apple Podcast as well. So you can check us out there and come follow along the journey. Hopefully I can teach you a few little tidbits of information as we go through this, because we're all rocking this crazy world together. So sometimes you just got to take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and that's what the dude's all about. But today we are talking about a subject that is very near and dear to my heart, basically getting into the whole minimalism subject, why I'm a minimalist, and hopefully some of the things that we talk about can help you declutter your life. So do you own your stuff? Or does your stuff own you? That is the age-old question. So if you've ever moved, just straight out getting it started, if you have ever moved, you know how big of a pain in the ass it is and like how much stuff you accumulate over time that hides in crevices you didn't even know you had. It's amazing the stuff that turns up. We are in a society of just this perpetual consumerism. I don't know how you would call it, but yeah, I guess consumerism. Where we just have to have all these material possessions, like, ooh, I want that. Ooh, I want that. I'm going to spend my money on this. Without any regard on, is that going to really benefit your life or not? What kind of use am I going to get out of it? Can I get multiple uses out of it? That kind of thing. Now, most people in American society or in Western society, I guess in that fact, don't really think that way. They see something, they want it. Ooh, nice, shiny, go get it. But then it's like, as you accumulate more things, you need a bigger place. So then you have to go out and you have to go and try to buy a house or rent a house that's larger and spend more money on a larger place to house all of your stuff. Because really, if you think of these big, huge houses that people buy, what's the purpose of most of it? Because majority of the time, you are spending your time in very select locations. So why do you need all this space? Well, it's probably because you've got way too much crap. So you really need to kind of look and take inventory on your material possessions and see what it is that you really need, what makes you happy, that kind of thing. See, people take minimalism in all kind of different ways. You can go to the super extremes with it, or you can really look at it in the philosophy of the way that it truly is, and the fact that if something is valuable to you, great, keep it. But if it doesn't bring you value, or if you don't find value in something, then it's time to get rid of it. And that's a hard thing for some people to do. Now, and it's a lesson. I got a 21-year-old and a 16-year-old. So my 21-year-old son, he's been getting really kind of, into organization. He's been organizing everything. We went on a trip recently, and he kept the van freaking spotless. So I was like, thank you, son. But yeah, he's really been kind of getting himself organized. His mom is notorious for being messy and being a hoarder and that kind of thing. Her mom is a hoarder. Hell, my parents are hoarders. I grew up in a very materialistic family. My grandparents were two of the most vain individuals I've ever met on the planet. My granddad was a self-made millionaire, had an insurance contracting company, that kind of thing. Started off, got, doing renovations for the U.S. Postal Service, doing post offices, and that kind of thing. And then it just grew into this huge insurance contracting company where, like, if you have storm damage, that kind of thing. And then my dad helped him build out the whole interior decorating platform and that kind of thing. It was a big family business. So my granddad was very vain, always rocking these $3,000-$4,000 suits. My grandmother always had, the newest Cadillac and, kind of thing. And he would buy her a new Cadillac and take her old one every 2 years, and they would just rotate. And he would trade his in and pay cash down for the rest of for the new car. And she would get that, and then he would get her older car, and they would just work that cycle kind of thing. He was always rocking a Rolex. She was always dripping in jewelry and furs and all this kind of stuff. I just grew up in a vain family, but they were in that silent generation that, hey, he made it, so he was going to flaunt it. And my parents took a lot of that. My mom's family, though, is really kind of the complete opposite. My granddad was that very minimalistic person. He literally died wearing a t-shirt that he's had my entire life kind of thing, and I'm almost 40 years old. So they were he had some money, they were he and my grandmother were school teachers on my mom's side. They lived down in the Florida Keys. They went down there in the 50s to go and teach school because the school teachers down in South Florida were getting paid more than principals were in Alabama at the time, which is where I'm originally from. So they had migrated down to the Keys back in the 50s, and then my mom was born in 1960, and they just never really left the Keys. They loved it. It was originally like a 1-year thing, and then they fell in love with it and bought their place, and it was history, and we still own the house down there. And I was down there for Hurricane Irma, and that is where this whole story begins about my minimalistic journey. Because I had a whole bunch of crap, and my ex and kids, when we split up, they left Florida and moved out to Oregon. Long story about that. Get into that at one point in time. It was the search for medicinal cannabis and not feeling like a criminal, so they ended up out in Oregon. And it all worked out. I'm in Oregon now. It's a beautiful thing. But it was kind of a rude way to get here. And that's what I'm kind of getting into now is, hurricanes will tend to lighten your load a bit. We'll just put it that way. I didn't realize how much crap I had accumulated over time until, I did realize because I'd moved it several times, across Alabama, Georgia, Florida. My ex and my kids, they just have so much crap, that we just have to move everywhere. So if you ever, again, going back to if you've ever moved, you know how big of a pain in the butt it is. So after losing everything to Irma, basically, literally everything I couldn't fit into my 4-door car, including my work stuff and, a brand new PA system. I had just started a DJ company down in the Keys and that kind of thing. And just bought this PA gear, literally 2-3 weeks before the hurricane, and signed a couple of contracts, was about to get started with some really lucrative DJ gigs down there a couple of days a week. And Irma changed all that. I lost everything that I've been carrying around for years. I even still had boxes of my ex and kids stuff that they couldn't get in the trailer to take with them to Oregon, and I had been slowly shipping them stuff over that past year when I moved down there. And so we had boxes that got ruined, so they lost stuff, so yeah, it just wiped out everything. Well, that's a very liberating experience once you get over the whole, like, oh crap, I just lost everything. Once you get over that, which that took a couple of weeks to get over, and you start kind of thinking about, okay, if you can handle yourself and you can handle the stress, then you can kind of start pulling yourself out of things. And it took me going out, spending some time. I bounced around, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, ended up in Tennessee for a while, staying with an old friend there, and went out in the mountains a lot and went hiking. So that was helping me really clear my head and just kind of get myself straight and figure out the direction I was going to go. Well, I figured out I planned that I was going to try to get out to Oregon. Well, then it was like, okay, now I got to replace all my stuff. Well, then I started thinking about, well, what do I really need? And that was when I started looking at the whole van life situation, which I am almost 2 years. October of this year of 2021 will mark the 2-year van-anniversary for myself and my pup. And very happy about my lifestyle. I love the whole digital nomadic lifestyle. It's really... It's pure freedom, basically. So part of that is being liberated of all my crap. Okay. And I got tired, I was getting tired of carrying all this stuff around. It's like, okay, what do I need all this for? And so when I started trying to replace everything, I started thinking about what it is I really need, because my budget was very limited. And how many uses or how many purposes can I get out of one object? So, how many different things can one object do for me? So that was kind of how I looked at things. That was how I looked at replacing things in my life. And I looked at priorities and really found out you don't need a whole lot of stuff. You really don't. And when I had that realization that I didn't need a whole lot of stuff to survive, my mentality changed in a crazy way. So once and I realized I could live in a van and be completely happy. Well, when I got to Oregon, my sister and I got an apartment, and she was going through some life changes, so we shacked up, my nieces, I helped with her. I helped with my nieces and everything for a year and a half. She ended up finding a really awesome guy and getting married and that kind of thing. And so then moved out of the apartment. Well, I had my van at that point, and I wasn't about to stay in a $1,400 a month apartment. So I decided it was time. So I put a lot of stuff in storage, and I jumped in the van. And when you're watching a lot of these YouTube videos about van life and everything, you're going to see that a lot of these people really pack in a lot of stuff into their vans and their RVs, and most of it is honestly crap they don't need. Why I say that is because I started doing the same thing. I started acquiring a whole bunch of crap that is now literally sitting in my storage because I don't need it in the van all the time. Because in my van life, I live in the city. I mainly operate in and out of a city. If I go out to the woods, if I go out boondocking for, a weekend, I basically call it camping, I just go pick up whatever gear I need out of my storage unit and I go. Now, if I was going out and boondocking, out in the middle of nowhere for 2 or 3 weeks, that'd be a whole different story. I'd be rigging up with different stuff. But, in my van life, I've found that I really don't need a lot of stuff in my van. It clutters it up. It makes it, it weighs down the van and, creates more drag so that I'm getting worse gas mileage and that kind of thing. Stuff just weighs you down. So again, I ask, do you own your stuff or does your stuff own you? Is your stuff weighing you down? In this whole new age of, especially with this whole great reset situation going on and BlackRock and company buying up almost every freaking house on the market. They're trying to force the major population into a renter mentality, the fact that you don't own anything and you will be happier. And a lot of people are like, really angry about that. Well, I mean, I don't agree. I mean, I believe, people, if you want to own property, you should be able to own property, but they're making it really hard to buy property these days. And it's sad as far as like real estate and that kind of thing. And that was a realization that I was coming to, because before I even moved out to Oregon, I was looking at trying to buy some land somewhere, buy a house or something like that, but the prices were absolutely ridiculous. And even after renting for a while, it's like, the rent just keeps going up, and it's like, well, why am I wasting this money? What am I getting out of it? I sit stagnant. When I'm in a house, and when I was working from home, it was just like I was in a hole for for years. It started off, when I was working from home in the Keys, and like I felt like or in Fort Myers and in the Keys, I barely felt like I left my room. And the whole time I was living in the Keys, it was a very weird situation because I, rarely would ever come out. And when I did, it was, either nighttime or just a day or two on the weekend, but then it was back to work and I was locked up in the house. Same thing when I got out to Oregon. I barely left my apartment for a year and a half. I barely explored anything. Once I moved out of the apartment and I started actually like living out in the world, I didn't realize how much I was missing. And, not everybody can do what I do. Not everybody can do the whole nomadic lifestyle. Not everybody can do the van life, RV life, that kind of thing. But you may be able to bounce around the world on, using Airbnb. There's several prominent like crypto figures that are digital nomads. If you think of somebody like Andreas Antonopoulos, he travels all over the world doing speaking engagements. He realized, why do I need an apartment of my own that I'm paying for, that I'm never in? And if you think about it, if most people have jobs that they have to go to, when are you really at home? You're at home to chill and sleep. And that's really it. And that's that's the thing that you're spending the most money on. And all it's doing is housing your crap. That's all it's doing, is housing your stuff. So again, I ask, do you own your stuff, or does your stuff own you? My life has been so freeing since I haven't had all the stuff. So I have so much more money. Not only, on the fact that I quit smoking cigarettes and I've quit a lot of my bad, unhealthy habits. I also have more money from that too, because I'm on this journey not only for wealth building, but I'm also trying to build my health back. I'm almost 40. I'm about to jump into that realm of life, and I'm ready to bust up in there, be healthy, be ready to rock, treat my 40s like my 20s, and be in better shape than I was when I was in my 20s. That's my goal. But it's all about health, wealth, and happiness, and personal freedom. That's what my journey's about. And it's taken me having this experience of losing everything, even if it was as dramatic as it was to a natural disaster. It's all in how you look at it. It's all in your perspective, and it's all in what you value. So I value things at this point in my life that I can use on a daily basis. And I want to make sure that I have the things that, I may need, like in just in case kind of situations. I don't mind stacking up tools. I don't mind stacking up things like batteries. I don't mind stacking up things like food. Yeah, I buy the prepper 25, 30 year, buckets of food and dehydrated fruits and vegetables and that kind of thing. I love that kind of stuff. It's great little snacks and that kind of stuff. I eat the stuff, but it keeps forever. I can throw it in a storage unit and it's not going to be, it'll keep for 25, 30 years. I can throw some in the van, go off in the woods for a few days, and everything's good. I don't have to cook anything if I don't want to, or it's minimal cooking, heating up water, that kind of easy stuff. So I stack up on things like that. And then, of course, I'm stacking up on my crypto. got to stack up on my crypto because you got to have a hedge because this system is going down like Charlie Brown, yo. And I don't know what other way to tell you, but the dollar is dying. They are just they're printing it into oblivion. So, me personally, not financial advice, just a dude living in a van on the internet. But I am buying Bitcoin. I'm buying Ethereum. And I'm buying Hive. Because like we said, Hive is that blockchain for everyday use. Ethereum has great purposes, with DeFi and, it's got NFTs and, you can do the NFTs and you can do different smart contracts and things like that. But Hive is that everyday use thing that everyday people can use. You can go on and just blog about whatever, or you can go to Dbuzz and that's basically like Twitter. So you can throw out little short snippets of whatever you want, get rewarded for your time and actually own your data versus a company like Twitter taking it and selling it for advertising. That doesn't happen on the blockchain. You've got to free yourself in whatever way you can. So I have refocused my spending. So instead of buying all this materialistic crap that's just going to sit around, it's like, oh, well, this thing looks cool. I'm going to let it sit in a corner and gain dust just because I think it looks cool and I'm going to spend money on it. Or, buying this, this t-shirt just because whatever, and having another t-shirt stacking up somewhere, or buying whatever it is that you're going to buy, going out and eating expensive food and all that kind of stuff. Once you start cutting out and realize that materialistic possessions are not as important as what you think they are, then you'll have more money to put into assets that can actually build your net worth and that can actually help you grow. And to the point now that I've got assets that are just making money as we speak, as I sleep. That's the goal. You got to earn that passive income. So I have investments that are doing just that, to where I don't have to work as hard at my regular job to be able to make the bills and that kind of thing, because I have passive income that's not only paying some bills, but it's also stacking up and accumulating more of the base assets. And the more of that you have, and the more that you're hedged outside of the federal systems and outside of the central banks, the better off you are. Now, a lot of people, I still buy a little bit of stock here and there. I've got a little account with M1 Finance, which allows me to be able to pick just like, whatever sectors I want to pick and allocate whatever percentage of the pie I want to allocate to them. And then I just feed money to it once a week and let it just buy its fractional shares and it just gains up, but I get dividends out of it. So, you can diversify a little bit here and there, but I am 95% in crypto because I believe in the future of decentralization, Web 3.0, and I believe that traditional finance is basically dying. But M1 Finance gives me something that I can give to the U.S. taxman. So, based on that, is your stuff making you money sitting there, or is it sitting there collecting dust? So if you have material possessions that are just sitting around collecting dust, you haven't looked at them in a year or more, that's my thing. If I haven't used it in a year, it's gone. I'm putting it out there on the market, selling it, or I'm just going to donate it to the thrift store or whatever it is I'm going to do. I'm going to try to make some money out of it. That's eBay marketplaces, Facebook marketplace works great for that kind of stuff. If you're in a different global area, whatever, local marketplace is good for you. You can always post on the Hive list, blockchain classifieds, and see if you can find a buyer there. Little shameless self-promotion right there. Hive list is my first blockchain platform project. E-commerce on the blockchain, but you got to be a member of you got to have a Hive account. So it all starts there. go get your Hive account and get started on Web 3.0. It's really a great way. And because once you get started in crypto, that makes saving fun. So that makes you want to earn more money to buy more crypto, because you can earn more money with the more crypto that you have. The more that you're staking up, the more that you're putting to work for you, the more that you're going to earn with less effort on your part. So that way you can take and put more energy into other things. So think about how much more money you could have if you had a smaller place because you had less stuff. So I know people that have to get extra bedroom, like get 2 or 3 bedroom apartments just for one person, because they have so much stuff that they have to fill a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment just for their crap. Think about how much money you can save if you could drop that down to a 1 bedroom apartment. You can save a lot of money and invest that money to where it starts building and making you more of a nest egg. Think about how much time you actually spend at home. What are your goals in life? Do you want to travel? Well, if you want to travel and see things and do things, well, I know, during this time of age with the pandemic and all that kind of stuff going on, it's kind of hard to travel. But hey, my kids and I just took a cross-country trip. That was fun. We took the van. We stayed in hotels, in different places across the country. We slept in the van a couple of times because we had to, but, that's a whole part of the adventure. But you don't have to necessarily do van life. Airbnb is great for digital nomads. You can go and live in any part of the world you want to go and live. Just go and rent a spot. Find something to do online that can make you some money. Educate people. Find whatever you're good at. Educate people. Create online content. There's all kind of different ways that you can make money online. Building websites, graphic design. There's all kind of different things that you can do, because there's still a lot of people out there, especially nowadays, with more and more people having to come online because of the shutdowns and the lockdowns and all that kind of bullshit. People are having to learn how to move their businesses online and learn how to make money from home. So if you are good at something, if you have a skill set that you can teach, put it online. There's great sites like Udemy and stuff like that to where you can put out your own courses and try to make money on that kind of thing. Me, I'm putting my stuff out there for free, and I'm going to let the community value my content, what they feel like my content is worth. So if you are part of the Hive Network and on 3Speak, listen to this, please give me an upvote. Would greatly appreciate that. We now have recurring transfers, so if you want to continuously support the dude and help me create content for a living, if you find value in my content and you want more, think about a recurring transfer. There's also ways that you can donate different cryptos like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, I think Wax as well, right there through 3Speak. If you're listening on the Podcasting Index 2.0, we'd appreciate any kind of donations. You can also support through Anchor.fm. Again, we're going to have all those links down in the description below. So the more support we can get from the community as creators, the more content that we can spend and create and kind of, help spread our knowledge to you guys. And again, it's all the same thing with you. But the thing is we still need people out there producing stuff. One of the biggest things that I preach is learning how to 3D print. I personally don't have a place to 3D print, but I got a buddy of mine that's got 10 different 3D printers, and he started printing up drone parts and is making an absolute killing because he knew he was losing his job during the pandemic. He was given a couple of months warning, so he started his own business during that time, basically let them pay for it, and now he's killing it. 3D printing is decentralized manufacturing. So you see what kind of problems we're having with supply lines with China and all that kind of stuff. And that's, going to cause some big rifts. And I believe that everybody kind of needs to learn how to start making their own stuff. Learn how to grow your own food. That's one of the more important things as well. Start a microgreen garden in your house. And if you have a lawn, there's no point in having grass. Again, you know, what's the point in owning all this stuff if you're not being able to use it, and if it's costing you money? You know, it costs you money to run that lawnmower once a week to cut that grass and make it look all nice and pretty and manicured. Well, wouldn't you get more use out of it if you would actually cut it up, making it into a garden, and start producing some food out of it? Encouraging your neighbors to do the same thing, and you guys work in a co-op. You guys all grow different things, and that way your neighborhood's producing their own food, and you don't have to rely on these crappy supply lines with the grocery stores. You can grow natural foods. You can be healthy and working as a community. So that's one thing to kind of look at. You know, I preach that kind of stuff. I'm about to start a whole microgreen setup. That's going to be an interesting kind of setup because, again, my whole digital nomad thing. So you can follow me on 3speak.tv, and I'll have some video about all that once I get it started. So I just hope that you can kind of think about that kind of thing. So does your stuff just sit there collecting dust, not doing anything, making you have to get a bigger place? Or are you just not knowing where to turn in your life because you got so much crap everywhere and you got so much baggage? Get rid of it. It's liberating. Put it up for sale. Make some money. Take that money, put it in some investments that are going to generate you more money so that you can afford to spend more time doing the things that you want to do and living the best life that you can live. You're going to be healthier, you're going to be wealthier, and you're going to have more happiness and more personal freedom than you'll ever realize if you just get rid of your shit, people. I'm going to be real with you on that. I love you all. I don't mean to yell and curse at you. I really don't, but I just need you to know. Stuff, materialistic possessions are not important. What's important in life is your experiences, your adventures, and the people that you enjoy it with. They don't care how much money you have. And if that's what the people that are around you, if that's all they care about is how much money you have in your crypto wallet or in your bank account, then you don't need those friends. Get the hell rid of them. You need the people that are going to be by your side when you hit rock bottom and you ain't got nothing to offer but a t-shirt. The people that stick by you during those times, those are your true friends. And that's really all you need. What do they say? All you need is love. Okay, I won't do that anymore. Sorry, guys, I can't sing, but you know, you get the point. And that's really all we need is love. We need more love in this world. So quit worrying about the materialistic crap. Learn how to produce your own stuff instead of being a consumer. And just love everybody. And we can make this world into a better place, people. Hope you guys have a great day. Be cool. Be real. Always abide. Don't forget, come check us out on the blockchain, the Hive blockchain, 3speak.tv, and you can also now listen to us on Spotify and other markets through anchor.fm. All links will be in the description below. Hopefully soon we will be on Apple Podcasts. You will know when we are there. Have a great day. Peace out.